Everyone, and welcome back to Build America Custom Homes. I appreciate you watching, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or who knows, both. Thanks for being here. So, if you're a real estate agent and you have buyers looking for a house, and with the high interest rates and the cost of every single thing, of course, property values have continued to go up, and then the cost of goods and construction materials and everything it's gone up. And so if we have the conversation about new construction, you are dealing with certain builders that can't build on scale, so the price per square foot goes up. They have less builds for the year, but trying to make the margins that we're making before. And some builders are still able to build on scale. Of course, price had to go up to cover extra labor, or the cost of labor, and the cost of materials. But all in all, if you look at an existing home, and let's just say that home was purchased and flipped by someone, whether they know what they're doing or not, questionable. But let's just say, for example, it was somebody that actually knows what they're doing. They do a good job, pull permits when they're needed and things like that. There's a good chance that the price of that house per square foot is going to be really close to what I build. Now, it might always match, but very, very close. Now, let me give you an example. We were looking at pricing a house I'm getting ready to show you a picture of, called the Garland. The Garland's a cool house. There's a couple variations, but basically between 1,450. We have one that's just over 1,500 square feet. Slight difference, obviously, in the square footage, but just a little bit of change in the floor plan. But that house it's systems built modular. We build it obviously quicker. The house doesn't get wet during construction, meaning critical components. Of course, when it rains and our house is done, after we set it in, say, a day, especially for the Garland, the shingles are on, the house wraps on. So if it rains, everything's dried in, not a big deal. We just don't have bare wood or obviously, drywall, insulation, whatever. Because typically when you're building a house on site, you're drying it in, you're getting the framing done, the sheeting, the house wrap, the windows, the roof. Technically you're dried in, then all the trades start. But who knows anymore, right? Everything's just kind of out of sync, so to speak. So if you take the Garland is a narrow house, about 28 feet wide, between 56 and 60 feet, depends on the variation on the depth. And so a lot of your city lots or your buildable lots in Hampton Roads, for example, with the setbacks needed, not just in the front and the rear. Typically, those properties are pretty deep, but obviously anything's possible. But the side setbacks are what you're really concerned about. Some cities may be 15 on one side, 5 on the other, or 15 and 10, whatever the variation is. So we take the width of the lot, we look at the width of the Garland, 28 feet wide, and we just make sure we have enough room for the setbacks on the sides. If we do, of course, the front and the back's got to match. That's a buildable lot. Now, here's the needle in the haystack, or often say hay in the needle stack, because it's really painful to find this one. The unicorn lot would be flat, grassy lot. You don't need to bring in dirt. You don't need to take out dirt. There's a road in front of it with curb and gutter. There's a water tap and a sewer tap already. The laterals on the property, maybe from a previous house that was there, or at least they're in the street right in front of it. And so the tap fees on that are between $7,000 and $12,000. That would be perfect. But what we tend to find is that we have a lot. We have to clear some trees. We have to put in a driveway, an apron, or if it's a rural area, we have to put in a culvert and a driveway there. That requires VDOT permit and costs like that. And so you start taking all these little bit of cost. It still doesn't price you out of building new to compare to existing, but it may be a situation to where the land cost has to be a little bit lower to obviously make up the difference. So let's take the example I started to give you in Hampton. There was a house about 1,400 square feet. The house was built in the 50s. Who knows how many times it's been renovated, but this particular time it was bought, it was flipped. I saw it, wasn't impressed, but it was there, right? Everything was updated. And this house was on the market for just over $300,000. Now, I didn't go back to see what it actually closed at. However, it's just over 300,000. Okay, take the Garland, for example. If we take 1,478 square feet and just a rough number, about $170 a square foot, you're looking at a house about 258,000, about 259,000 for the house built. Now we have to figure the cost of the lot. Now, if you can find this property, now this is where it gets hard, but if you can find this property that's $40,000, then we're competitive, or even a $50,000 lot, we're competitive with that existing home. Now, there again, the needle in the haystack would be the lot for about 50 and water and sewer tap already there. And let's just say that the sewer and the water tap is already there from a previous house. Some cities do have a sort of an expiration date. If they haven't been in use, then you have to upgrade them, replace them, maybe pay for testing, whatever the protocol would be in that city. So it's not just because it's there, assume you can do it. You have to do your due diligence anytime before you close on a lot. Make sure every single thing is what you think it is, and it's the cost as well is what you think it is. You need to know, not think on that one. You need to have prices. So roughly, we would be theoretically with the Garland built in that area, we would be in that price range of that house, but you get new, all new material, new framing, everything new, obviously, the latest in building codes, um, the latest in HVAC, and every single thing built by true craftsmen, not a house flipped by whoever. And so that's a huge distinction between what we, even when we flip houses, everything that needs a permit gets a permit. We do it by the book. There's no corners cut, but not just permitting. Permitting is minimum code. We also exceed that in many cases, and the quality of what we do, whether it's an existing house or new construction. But in this case, this video, we're talking about new construction. You're going to see quality at every point in this house. Now, how are we able to build so fast? Let's get right on into some info here. So here's the Garland. Now, full disclosure, this picture right here, this is from our build partner over at Nationwide Homes. That's who we buy our modules from. We're an independent builder with Nationwide. Um, so this would be the Garland here, and I didn't go through all the pictures. I just want to show what it looks like in the front. It's a very cool house. They have a little porch there. Imagine this systems built modular. This is not manufactured. Nothing wrong with that. This is totally a different type of build. This is called systems built modular. This is built to the International Residential Code, and it is all wood, stick framed, just built a heck of a lot better. And this would be 2 modules. So if you can, I don't know if this cursor is going to show up on this video, but pretty much where the peak of the front of the house is at the very top, if you drew a line straight down to the ground, that left side would be 1 module, right side would be another module. It's really cool how this works. Now, this is the Garland. This is a house that we did build. This house is in Hampton. This is called a Woodbury. Now, this was modular, except the garage. We built that garage site built. This house took us about 4.5 weeks to finish, even with the garage. So the day we set the modules, um, this house was actually in the Daily Press. Did an article on this house. It was called "Instant House," is what they called it, and they wanted to see this process happen. So they came out. They did a story on it. And it was a major hit. But this house here is really like a really awesome house. This is another house that we built called the Elm. This is, and the reason I'm showing these are systems built modular. If we compare square footage, now let's go back. The Woodbury, I can't remember exactly, mid 2000s on the square footage, I think. They're again just over 2,000 square feet, like 2,400 for the Elm, somewhere in there. Then we have my house. This is the Savannah, 4,300 square feet. This is an older picture. Obviously, the front door is different color now, but this is when you see systems built modular. This is what I'm showing you the pictures for. Think like when some people see this picture, they say, "No way, that's modular," because most people have a perception that's different than what we actually do. So systems built. Follow me here, and you're going to see exactly what we do. Now, this is actually a house I'm getting ready to show you next. This is a house that we built in Hampton as well. This is called the Hampstead. 2-story house, just about 2,000 square feet, a little bit smaller than the Elm I just showed you. But you see all the wood framing there. There's no metal beams. There's none of that. All of this little framing that you see in the openings here, that's for shipping. When we set the modules, tie everything in, that goes away. This would be the upstairs back side of the house, is what this module is. At this point, the first floor has already been set. This is the back side. If you want to know when we got started, roughly about 9 a.m., we got started setting these modules. And just after 1 o'clock, we had a 2,000 square foot house there. If you look at the modules here, you'll see that the on the left hand side, part of the gables folded down, the roof system's folded down on this, but you see all the floor joists in here. All this is wood framing. If you look very carefully, in that module, you'll see an interior door and then a little pink area to the top right. That is actually the little clear bag that, or the pink bag that comes over the smoke detector. If you've ever seen those in new construction, smoke detectors, outlets, every single thing is already run, even the plumbing. Now, we do tie the plumbing in module to module, but this just gives you an idea. Now, the reason why this matters on can we build for what you can buy, there again, we have to do a comparison. I mean, obviously, some things are going to be cheaper, more expensive, but we always like to say, just don't assume because it's new, it's out of reach. Always give us an opportunity to give you a number on a house. So if you have a lot picked out, and we can work with your buyers, or if you are the buyer, we can work with you on this floor plan, exactly how many bedrooms, bathrooms, and all that you want. What we can do is, um, we can design a house that meets your needs, fits your needs. We can make sure that the lot that you have in mind, if you've already got one, that house will fit on that lot with the zoning requirements for the setbacks, minimum square footage, and all that good stuff. Um, One of the reasons why the Garland, for example, you can't build it in any neighborhood because some neighborhoods will have a minimum square footage, maybe 1,600 or higher. The Garland's 1,478. There's a lot of neighborhoods that house will work in. You can also build it out in rural areas as well. So really cool house. We're not getting into all the plans. If you look at some of the other videos, we've done some reviews of floor plans. You can get an idea. I don't know if we've done one on the Garland yet, but if we haven't, that'll be a video that we do this week. So you can get an idea of what we do. But this is systems built modular construction, and how it's built is why we can build it faster. Now, time turns into money for you, because if we can build cheaper, we have less people on site, we have less cost, less overhead. Financing is less because the duration of the build between the very beginning and the CO, or certificate of occupancy, and you being able to close and move in is a lot smaller time frame in most cases than on site. We are less impacted by the weather. And so I would say that the way we build just in the timeline is a home run, but then the quality of what you get, and the precision and the high performance nature of the building. So efficient, house built tight, strong, like very strong, all of the things that you're concerned about in the house, quality of workmanship. That's another thing. We're so predictable in the end product here that we can tell you early on that, here is exactly what you're going to get. We're not, you know, up to whatever sub decided to come in. We're not using the cheapest people. The electrician that we use, if he's watching the video right now, you'll know, don't take this the hard way, but he is not the cheapest person that we know, not the cheapest electrician. However, for what we do, the quality of what they do, they are typically the best for us because we have that level of quality that we know, we trust, and we expect, and we know it's going to be there. So I can tell you when I'm selling you a house, the electrical will be fine, and here's why. Now, most of the electricals run the house, but they have to tie these modules together. They have to set the meter base, and anything we do on site, like build a garage, add a generator, whatever it may be. So there's a lot of stuff that he takes care of on site. But even though I say a lot, it's not compared to on site, but there's a few things that he has to do, but he does it in a very short manner. The heating and air conditioning is either done by a trade, sub that we use, or we actually do because we have a mechanical division. We can actually do it in house. We tend to sub that out, but we can definitely do it ourselves if we do it ourselves. So the modules that you just saw sort of being set in the air, well, that is this house right here. So there's a few people standing. Now, what are the people in the driveway looking at? They were actually looking at the elm, the house that was a greenish sort of sage green house. We were setting that house, and That's Becky right there in a pink shirt. She was filming that. So, but this is the Hampstead. This is the house that you saw going up. You might say, okay, what does that finished product look like? Well, here it is. This is another house that we built. It's called the Sugar Hill. We built the garage on site on this one as well. The reason why we build the garages on site is because in this case here is, you know, 3 walls and a roof. Now it is fire rated stuff. Obviously, the front and rear wall, you know, is a load bearing wall because this is a truss roof, and then there's a firewall between the garage and the house. So, you know, there's a little bit of expense happening in there. You have to do some drywall. And if you have to drywall the ceiling, the front and rear wall, we always drywall the left hand wall anyway. So, complete drywalled, insulated, every single thing. Here's another. So, remember, this is the Hampstead. Well, here, this was the first module being set. Now, focus in on the foundation here. Um, this particular foundation was one of our only block and mortar or concrete parge coat, where you basically smear concrete over the block on the outside. And if you look real hard, you can see some of that texture there. We ended up painting this, it didn't look bad at all. But we tend to use split face block if we're going to use just a block foundation, or you can use a brick veneer. You know, brick, you have to really like the look to pay for it, because basically the house sits on CMU or cinder block, and the brick is a veneer, runs up the outside and turns back to the house to give it that brick look. But you're not, we call it bearing on brick. It's not weighted on there. So you have a lot of cost in that, but you can do brick as well. But if we're looking for entry point to keep costs as low as possible, we use the split face block, which I don't have a picture of. And that basically cuts down on the cost, and it gives you sort of that stone look. It's chipped and rough on the outside. It's actually pretty cool. So we're back to the Garland. Now the Garland's an awesome house. You know, depends on the lot cost, but this house new, say in the city of Hampton, would be roughly about 300,000. So remember time, and now this is lot cost based on $40,000. Now you might say, well, I can't find a $40,000 lot. Well, that's where we have to get creative. Direct to seller marketing. Sometimes we have people that have a house that they want to stay in, but the yard's too big, and that they're the perfect candidate to subdivide. And maybe we market to them about subdividing. Hey, if you want to stay in your house, but we can pay for the property split, buy the property. You live in your house, we build a new house. Some folks want to know what you're building, so you might have to work that out. But as a real estate agent and a buyer, you're looking for something that's on the market, something that's coming on the market. You can find basically you get it under contract with a due diligence period. Make sure that all the numbers work, everything you want to do. It's buildable. It's water, sewer. Like there's no issues with it, and then it's ready to build. And we actually help you with that. We help you do the due diligence to see if it's a buildable lot or not. We also have banks that we can recommend that can do lot purchases, also construction loans, and they'll even take it to perm. So all the way from lot to perm, or at least lot construction, and then you can end up with your final or your permanent mortgage somewhere of your choosing. So we actually have, if you're building in the southern part of Suffolk, we have a credit union that's really good to work with. Anywhere else in Hampton Roads, we have another bank. And so we can refer you there as well if you don't know someone that does it. And you probably work with a lender that you know, like, and trust. And that's awesome if they can do it. If they're not used to it, there may be some hiccups in the process. And so sometimes you have to go to someone that actually does these a lot. And that's where we can refer someone to you. So, if you are an agent working with a buyer and you cannot find that perfect house, I think it's worth just a conversation. So if you're an agent working with a buyer and you're trying to find that perfect house and you just can't seem to find the existing one out there, give us a call. You can email me. You can email me at dwayne@mbbuilt.com, or you can call us at 757-483-4848. We can set up an in-person meeting. We can do something by Zoom if you would like, where we can screen share right here on StreamYard, wherever you want to, whatever's convenient for you and your buyer. And if you're a buyer, if you're looking for a house and you're wondering, hey, I can't find what exactly I want to live in, I have this idea what I want, you can't find it. Well, that's where we can look at building for you. Anywhere in southeastern Virginia, currently, we do have plans moving into Northeast North Carolina one day, but right now we are licensed Class A contractors in the state of Virginia, and our area is southeastern, pretty much Coleman Bridge South, uh, Petersburg, Ivor East. So, that whole southern right hand corner of Virginia. If you found this video helpful, and look, I want to start the conversation with you. Check out our website. I'll put a link in the description below, buildamericaCustomHomes.com. And like I said, you can call me at 757-483-4848. Also, my email will be in the description below. Check it out. See what you think. I'd love to know your opinion. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, please. Leave a comment. Let us know what your question is. And if you have some questions and enough questions come in, maybe we'll do a video on it, answering it. And look, just the floor plans. I only showed you a few out of about 70 total. On our website, we have roughly 25, 28, somewhere in there, but we have access to a lot more. So we start the conversation. We have a way of finding out, narrow that 70 down to something that is in your liking, because we ask a series of questions. We kind of narrow it down. So this process doesn't take us long. Anyway, my name is Dwayne Cotton. I'm with Build America Custom Homes. Thank you for watching this video. I'm out. See ya. Have a great day. Bye.